Okay, and I will ask Nestor to actually stay near me. Please come back, because I give gift to you. I thank every one of you for all that you have done. No, let me say that again. You're just looking at me. You're not listening. Let me say to you, I thank you, each and every one of you, for what you do, whether you're here at Baylor or beyond, because what you do matters. Wait, let me say that again. What you do matters. And this little head trauma chicky chick thanks you very much. So much so, we give you gift, okay? So, would you like to? Okay. Would you please sing along with us? Let the harmonies fill the air. And let us sing along one of the most favorite songs in all of the whole wide world. See if you recognize this.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The Linked for Life Choir.
So in the future, shall we? So let me put on my beautiful black readers that do help me. And simply, as we come together, I will watch the time so that I take care of you, to feed your soul from the inside out, with laughter, with whatever blows ye hair back. May we have this moment together. You see, in the midst of her adversity, along the journey of her life, Helen Keller discovered this about character. Character is not developed in quiet and ease. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success revealed. My life was horrifically thrown into the classroom of character on June 18th, 2002. Watch this. My head and body were going at such a full speed that it shot like a missile through that area made of, I suppose, plexiglass. And in fact, one of the eyewitnesses of the accident said she saw something fly out of the Tahoe, but she thought it was just a piece of laundry.
That piece of laundry was Patti Foster. On June 18, 2002, she and 3 friends were on their way to a Bible study. Patti's SUV was rear-ended by an 18-wheeler traveling 70 miles per hour. 3 of the passengers were injured, and sadly, 1 lost her life. As Patti's body lay mangled in the middle of the road, bystanders began to pray.
People that didn't know each other, they began to just join hands automatically. They began to pray with each other.
Emergency helicopter crews landed at the scene and transported Patti to the ICU. After an all-night effort, the trauma team was able to sustain Patti's life, but she remained in a coma for 6 weeks. In addition to multiple other injuries, every lobe of Patti's brain had been severely injured. Her primary injury was to her frontal lobe.
Without the frontal lobes functioning and organizing and directing, without the frontal lobes doing that for us, our brain really doesn't function.
The doctors met with my family at some point during my coma time and prepared them what to expect. They said, okay, if she does live, she will be a persistent vegetable.
As news of Patti's accident began to spread, prayers and support from around the world began to pour in.
People from the radio station, from churches, listeners that had just heard about it, just everybody.
Patti says it was the power in those prayers that eventually woke her from her coma.
We had learned a week prior to this is when we had received the prognosis that she would never walk or talk or speak in complete sentences. And that's when she just kind of focused and looked at me and said, pray for me. And I said, okay. I said, I'll pray for you. I said, that's no problem. And she said, no, pray for me now. After that day, After she said, pray for me, everything completely changed. Completely changed.
To her doctor's surprise, Patti was released from the ICU and sent to rehab, a year earlier than expected. But due to the extent of her brain injury, she still had enormous obstacles to overcome.
I had to relearn how to swallow, breathe on my own, blink, open my mouth, move my head, move my hands, fine motor skill. They had to reteach me the numbers. They had to reteach me my alphabet, every single thing.
Through it all, only one thing remained the same for Patti.
My love for God was there the entire time. It didn't leave. I didn't have to relearn that. From the stories that I've been told, that's the one thing that remained a constant throughout it all.
Patti's rehabilitation progressed swiftly, and after only 1 month of treatments, she was released from the hospital and sent home.
Her total recovery is amazing, and the fact that it happened so rapidly, those are two things I did not expect.
Patti also regained her ability to process information, and eventually, she was able to pursue her career in public speaking.
And she's able to go back to something that most people without a brain injury could not have done. And certainly for her to have recovered that ability is nothing short of a miracle.
Today, Patti travels around the world sharing her story with others about God's miracle in her life.
And I want to be there just to encourage people in the real way because of what I've gone through. As long as I live, He will use that tragedy that Satan intended to rip me into shreds. But as long as I live, that miracle that began on June 18th, 2002 will live on to my Father's glory.
That's right. Can I get a witness? Amen. Not to give up, not to quit. Let me say to you, for those of you here that are carrying with you, even as Mr. Dapper there. Yes, you know him well. With those of you who have walked in with a very heavy weight on your heart, on your mind, Clint, you know, on your shoulders, Nancy, you know, then I speak to you. Don't give up. Just the way the Lord helped me through Mama Joan. You know her. Joan from Canada to me. We need each other. Link for life. May we do that. May we choose to do that now. Like sweet Ashley. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Because just as Mark Twain said, keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that. But they're really great. Make you feel that you too can become great. Well, God used Baylor to help restore that confidence in me. Toward, you know what I'm saying, Inez? To try toward that greatness. Don't stop. Don't quit. Don't give up. Go back in time with me. It was about 6:40 in the evening on that hot summer's night, June 18th, 2002. Over 100 degrees. 4 of us ladies were in the Tahoe on our way to meet the others for our last Bible study meeting before taking a summer break. Envision this with me. Emily had completely stopped her Tahoe at the red light. All lanes of traffic were full. I had taken off my seatbelt to turn and check on some flowers in a basket I put behind my seat. Bam! That's when the impact happened. A tractor-trailer rig pulling a trailer full of cars barreling down the highway at 70 miles per hour slammed into the rear of the Tahoe with no warning. He had 5 different drugs in his blood system, plus he was talking on his cell phone. He had caused these accidents many times before, but had never been called on the carpet. The life of this former radio personality came to an abrupt halt. The right side of my face and head were crushed. My right eye was hanging out of its orifice onto the highway. Fractures and multiple injuries were all over me from the top of my head to the tip of my toes. I had lost well over 60% of my blood. And EMS workers secured and searched for my pulse. However, no pulse was to be found. So the white sheet was then pulled over my body, assuming I was dead. As EMS staff raced against time to save lives, one of the eyewitnesses heard a gurgling noise coming from beneath the white sheet. A second air flight helicopter was then contacted. It landed at the crash scene and flew me to the nearest acute care hospital. My brain and body shut down as the flight medic and the flight nurse loaded me onto the air flight helicopter. I fell into a coma for 6 weeks. My family was told that I would be a persistent vegetable if I lived. I've had to relearn every single basic function of living. The crash on that June 18th, 2002, instantaneously turned me into a 34-year-old infant. Today, some of the long-term deficits that I deal with include agitation, easily, fatigue, quickly, short-term memory, balance and equilibrium, slower to process, slower as a reflex, second-guessing my confidence. As my motto for living says, mad now, make a difference now. I challenge each one of you right now, as you listen, as you watch, as you hear, to come up with your own motto for living. What will it be? May each one of us step out of the box and link together for life and make a difference now in the lives around us. The doctors, the food service, the nurses, the techs, cleaning crew, receptionists, administrators, transporters, therapists, and so many more. Because God uses everybody to make a difference. Let us choose today to link for life and make a difference. Because you know what that difference is that's been weighing on you. It's been on your mind. You know that person, Alan, that crosses your mind. Things that come back to your thoughts. Yes, pay attention. So spend some time with me, and let's see how this relates to your world. Because some, like Fernanda in the back, you may relate to. And you want to then kind of plant that in the soil of your life and cultivate it. Some of it may be a wee bit different, and you may want to, you know what I'm saying, put it in the home of Mr. Tidy Bowl and flush it. When adversity, listen to me, walk into your world, go deeper. When adversity raises its ugly, not so pretty head, and it slithers its slimy way into your life, and it lurks in the darkness, let me pass along a few responses for you to consider. Just think about it. See what connects with you. These are some of the ways that God kept me safe, helped me through, helped me to persevere in the midst of traumatic brain injury and all of the fractures from the top of my head to the tip of my toes. From the right orifice crush, the C6, the C7, down the lumbar, thoracic area, the pelvic area, the feet, everything, toes, fingers. Learning how to live again. The slow process. How arduous, step by step, by breath by breath. So let me pass along. Let me just read to you the 4 things, and then we'll go back and break them down a wee bit. But consider this. As you deal with adversity, whether anyone else is aware of it or not, number 1, learn from adversity. Number 2, grow in grace through adversity. Number 3, be strong and courageous in the face of adversity. And number 4, always pray during adversity. Go back with me. Learn from adversity. For me personally, as a brain injury survivor, having tasted death, I tasted death. I experienced it. I was in heaven. I was there. He's sending back here. He's not finished. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So learn. Linda, you happening martyr lady, learn. Like she's been with the therapy dogs for so long, but what a difference in the midst of adversity. For me, some of the things I learned, small things often make a huge difference. Whether it's a word, a smile, a touch, huge difference small things can make. Also, think about those life lessons you experienced, Mr. Dapper, in the midst of those struggles, in the midst of those uncomfortable moments. And oh dear, America, in the midst of inconvenience. Oh dear. May we choose to learn those life lessons, learn those nuggets of life, and pass them along. That we don't just hear, yes, but we pass along, apply, put into living color, teach, not only with what we say, but how our lives say, yes? And as we learn from adversity, may we experience the nonverbal communication and the verbal communication. We'll talk more about that. How often, Nancy, our lives speak much louder than our mouths move. In fact, it was through adversity that I learned my motto for living: make a difference now. We never know how many days we have left. Forget days. We never know how many moments we have left. So while we have this moment, may we choose to lay hold of that time. As we learn from adversity, may we also grow in grace through adversity. Because as you know so well, it's a lifelong journey, not a single destination. Just like the recovery is a process, so your life is a process. Tend to that adversity as a process, that we can learn from it and that we can grow in grace. In other words, have mercy on yourself. Have mercy on yourself. Show grace to yourself. And then give grace to others. Have grace and mercy on others. Don't keep on beating yourself up or replaying things. You have your once to think of it, then put it aside and walk on. As we grow in grace and we share with others, even when guilt is screaming at us, grace matters. It makes life more better. Learn from adversity, grow in grace through adversity. Be strong and courageous in the face of adversity. How difficult it is to continue to persevere, to endure. Put stretch marks on your heart. Keep trying. And when you've done all you can do, when you've given it all you've got, sure, take a rest. And then try again. Don't give up. As we are strong and learn to be strong and courageous and choose to be strong and courageous in the face of adversity, may we continue to put into living color prayers, that we talk to God and that we listen to God. I say often, please try not to build a cottage on the cliff of adversity. Try not to set up camp on the cliff of adversity. Maybe you'll have to stay there overnight, maybe just a wee bit. But don't build a house on it. that sinking sand. It will wash away. You don't want to be there long. And in the midst of all the prayers, watch, expect, pay attention. Always pray through that adversity. Because you know what you've brought in this room at this moment. What you're in the midst of. The incredible schedule. Appointments here, appointments there, calls, text, Facebook. All that's required of you. Pray. Your mouth never has to move. Your heart is heard. Let us pray. Don't give up. Don't quit. Pray and press on, as I say. And journal. Take the opportunity. Journal. Have a prayer journal. If you don't have one, have a go. Maybe it's just a small little notebook. Okay. Have a prayer journal. Write about the progress. Write about the small little bit. Celebrate those moments. Don't ignore them. Don't overlook them. Lean in to life. Lean in to that moment. You know the thought that's been going through your mind. There's something on you want to be about, a part of. Begin, start, ignite, motivate. All right? Let's lean in. We can help each other, yes? We need each other. Just the way I had those incredible musicians beside me. Yes? Giving a wee bit of sunshine on a cloudy day, yes? How we need each other when our hearts are cloudy. Our feelings are cloudy. Our thoughts are cloudy. Yes. And in the midst of adversity, realize, like I said, we need each other. In other words, you can say simply, people need people. So many of us often live our lives with a wall of self-protection. Yes? Yeah, you agree too. That often we keep a wall of self-protection in front of us. And I encourage you, yes, there is wisdom in that to an extent. And I encourage you, just as the beeper went off, really pay attention to life as it gives us the beep. To remove one brick at a time. Wisely, yes. I'm not saying to be flippant. But may we step out of the box that we've been in so quickly and so longly and so comfortably. And may we begin to remove one brick at a time and allow someone else in. Ask for help. Let someone else come close. Yes, be wise, but at least try. Have a go. Let someone help. Maybe it's a smile. Maybe it's written a handwritten note and handing it to someone. Or send a Facebook message. Or IM, or a tweet. Good tweet, that is. Positive tweet, thank you. An email. Or however you want to make your encouragement mobile ready. Maybe you want to send it through your tablet, or through your smartphone, or your computer. Lay hold of the moment. Wise words to put into living color, as I say. Be wise, not unwise. Making the most of every moment, because the days are evil. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. Let us do good to all people. As I began waking up from the coma, and the staff at BIR Dallas, right across the street here, began reteaching me all of the basic functions of living, the character of this 34-year-old began to taste this: the power of communication and the power of presence. So, see how this relates to you, the power of communication. Remember these two numbers, 7 and 93. What are those two numbers? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, you're beautiful in the neighborhood you are. 7 and 93. Did you know that a whopping 7% of communication is verbal? A whopping 7% of communication is verbal. The nouns, the pronouns, the adjectives, the 25 cent words, and so forth make up only 7% of communication. So you're wonderful mathematicians. Subtract 7 from 100, and what do you get? 93% of communication is non-verbal. The touch, the tone of voice, the eye language, the body language, the gestures, the touch, the speed of speech. So, a few years after I began waking up from the coma, and learning how to live and transition into life again, and to move and groove like I do now that I couldn't do then, this question came to me. Record me in your head. What does your life say when your mouth is not moving? What does your life say when your mouth is not moving? It either repels people to keep away from you, or either, yes, Kelly, it draws them toward you. It draws them to want to be near you, to be close to you. Your choice. So, let us enjoy an M&M activity of vitamin B12. So you wonderful models of M&Ms, could you please pass around your treasures to the game? And they are moving quickly like Vanna White on steroids. Yes. And please, as they pass along, grab a pack and try not to eat them all yet. We will share. We will lick and share the M&Ms. God's holy manna. When I was in radio, listeners knew I loved peanut M&Ms. So listeners would send me M&Ms from all over. I always had a lot to share. I'd give away and I'd be given back. I went, oh, thank you, Lord. I believe giving is important. In fact, since I began waking up from the coma, I remember when I was writing my book, one thing that stood out to me is I'm so thankful I can go to Baylor now and give away what I've been given. It's called life. So when everyone has gotten your M&Ms, I would like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Peanut M&Ms, did you notice? Lord holy manna. All right. So please, everyone, if you do have your M&Ms, would you please hold them up and shake it, honey? The M&Ms, that is. All right. Okay, pull them down. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to take, one moment, please, your favorite color of M&M from the bag, or the entire bag, and then, one moment before you open, I would like for you to apply in living color my motto for living, which is what? Mad now. Make a difference now. Okay, so I want you to take one of those M&Ms or the entire bag, and when I give the go slide, I want you to take that M&M and go to someone else in this room who has made a difference in your life. And I want you to take that M&M or the bag, and I want you to look her or him in the eyes. Try not to look at the toes or up the nose, but into the eyes, all right? And communicate to that person what a true difference they have made in your life. All right, everyone? So, you've got 2 minutes to let the M&Ms of vitamin B12 flow. All right, someone can do the countdown with me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the birds have flown. Awesome. So now you have just experienced a wee bit of the power of communication. I wish we had more time so that David could take the microphone and talk with you individually and as groups to hear the difference it made to speak that vitamin B12 and to receive that vitamin B12. It's good for the heart. Also, not only the power of communication helped teaching my church to learn and live again, but the power of presence. And what I simply mean by this is simply to be present, to be there when it happens. Like Doug and Mr. Dapper and I, were talking outside of the doors, and I was putting them on the spot as though we were on the radio, and I gave them only 30 seconds to answer a question in one word or one phrase of how they would describe their time with putting the spiritual event together in 1 year. What would they say? They were there. They were listening. The pressure was on. They were present. Often in life, when adversity happens, it so distracts us in so many things at the same time, it's very difficult to be anywhere at one time. Being present, instead of trying to take control and fix something or repair something or rejuvenate something or relieve something, have a go at to be present for that moment, for that breath. Just maybe look and listen. Remember when I started, I said something to you and I said, no. You were just looking at me, you weren't listening. How often we do that in life? Because we get so busy and caught up in things. I say simply, come alongside those in adversity and be present. And when silence happens, don't step on it. And when you're nervous, stay nervous. Stay silent. Have a goal. It may be difficult. It puts stretch marks on you, but it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as you often will hear me say. Some wonderful words of life in the matter of being the power, living, experiencing. You were saying the experiencing, the power of presence. Simply listen often. Speak a wee bit. And to be slower, to get ticked off, as I say. So, ladies and gentlemen of Baylor, and you snazzy random citizens, let me now press the F5 of your life keyboard and refresh your heart and mind. When adversity raises its not so pretty head in your life, and it slithers its slimy way into your presence, choose, have a goal, attempt, learn from adversity, grow in grace through adversity, be strong and courageous in the face of adversity, and always pray during adversity. In the midst of adversity, realize, recognize, allow. We need each other. People need people. Even like Duda Donna. She'll tell you more about that. Please let someone in. Remove one brick at a time. Experience the power of communication, the nonverbal language, the verbal language, the power of presence. Be present in the moment. Don't miss it. Lay hold of it. Don't overlook it. And let us choose to link together for life and make a difference. Because you see, there is hope. In fact, saying the word hope reminds me that there is an incredible faith-based group that helps the brain injury, the survivors, their caregivers, the medical personnel. It's known as Hope After Brain Injury. We're based here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In fact, Dr. Adams, the president and founder, is with me. She'll be at the book table if you'd like to talk with her. HopeAfterBrainInjury.org. Because isn't it true? We all need hope in living color, verbally or non-verbally. I wrap up with this acrostic of how I thrive since severe brain injury became a part of this little Chicky Chick's life. Thrive. The T, try again and don't give up. H, have faith in God even when it makes no sense. are. Receive love, give love. I. Intentionally let your audio match your video. Let what you say match what people see. Very steadfastly be about what matters. And the E, endure adversity and do the next thing. Because all of the multitasking is always bombarding your brain and mind. Simply say to yourself, just do the next thing. Do the next thing. I resolutely believe that the time has come. The day is here. The opportunity is at hand for each one of us to link together for life and make a difference while we have this moment. So as we finish, we have a few minutes for a Q&A. So, ladies and gentlemen and random citizens, let's talk, shall we? Let's take about 3 or 4 minutes for a Q&A. So as you have a question or a comment or something you'd like to speak and share, would you please, one at a time, speak loudly and slowly? So who would like to be the first brave contestant on The Price is Right today? What goes through your mind? And what did I say that conjured up a thought, a memory, an experience, like Loretta mentioned, that you've gone through, that you are in the midst of, that you relate to, that stuck out to you, that you've heard before, but for some reason it hit you differently today. Maybe it was a certain verb that I said. Maybe it was the way I blended something that you didn't think of it exactly in that perspective. I believe since I learned to live again, when I began waking up from the coma, and I was over here at BIR Dallas, my perspective completely changed. Suddenly life was not taken for granted. Breathing was not taken for granted. Walking, having balance, standing up, sitting down, was not taken for granted. People's names, people's touch, people's love, nothing was taken for granted. Yes?
The word grace means different things to different people. What does it mean to you?
In one word, strength. I believe very much strength from the inside out. Not the veneer, but the roots. Someone else. A question, comment, yes?
Were you always an optimistic personality? You seem very optimistic. Were you that way before the accident?
I was pretty optimistic before, yes. Very positive going toward life. Very leaning into a challenge. I'm so thankful that part when I began, waking up from the coma, because how often the personality changes, especially when you've been there for 6 weeks and you have to learn everything again. But I'm so thankful. A lot of my personality is very similar to the way it was before. I get agitated quickly now, and I didn't before. I would just laugh things off, or I'd bite my tongue and keep it closed, keep my mouth closed. But now I often find that I need to take a bag of tongues with me, because I have to bite mine off so often and replace it. Someone else. They say three's a charm, so shall we? Yes.
Did you have to teach yourself? You had to have help walking?
Yes.
Also starting from all the motor skills?
Yes. Mama Joan can tell you some about that, because she was one of the nurses in the ward where I was when Dr. Carlisle first accepted me, admitted me to BIR Dallas. They had to teach me the coordination of everything because nothing made sense to me. It didn't come back to me. But they work you hard, incredibly hard. They worked me hard. But the other thing, Donna, they cared for me so well. And they cared for my family. And all the friends and all the radio listeners. I was a blessed chicky chick with incredible support around the world. And what a difference the power of that presence made. Huge. Can we talk? Sorry, one more in the back, Mr. Dapper. Small things matter. Wait, let me say that one more time. Small things, irregardless of what you think, regardless of your definition of small. Think verbally, non-verbally, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, every vapor of life. Small things can make a magnificent difference. Think, think, think. Make a difference when? And may we link together for life as we make a difference.